Good afternoon. My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 27 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Grow Your Business with Digital Marketing, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network. Please mark your calendars for the next webinar in our Digital Bootcamp series, only 1 week away, How to Manage Your WordPress Website, on August 10th at 1 p.m. We are recording today's presentation and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type them into the Q&A box and we will address them at the end of the session. We have also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Cameron Nelson, Chief Digital Advisor for the Virginia SBDC. Cameron has over 19 years of experience in technology and is a senior tech consultant in Silicon Valley, helping Fortune 500 companies improve their digital marketing and e-commerce. At the same time, he also founded several tech companies, including a software as a service website for tree preservation and a blockchain platform for nonprofits. Cameron is accomplished in language, culture, has an MBA and MA. He believes new technology products have the ability to help shape our world for the better. Please join me in welcoming Cameron Nelson.
Thanks for the introduction and hello, everybody. Welcome to Grow Your Business with Digital Marketing. This is an important topic today as businesses struggle to find new customers online and increase their online revenue and growth there. I'm going to be talking through a lot of the tactics that are working in this year, especially in 2023, the best tactics that you can be using, some of the strategies and some of the tools that you have available to you. We're also going to have 30 or 40 minutes for questions and answers at the end. So I encourage you all to think of a question or two that you'd like to ask throughout the presentation. If you'd like to describe your own situation a little bit to me, then we can talk over your problems and hopefully I can give you some direct solutions. So with that, let's jump right into it. So I want to start by talking about the top 5 reasons why you should be using digital marketing. And the main reason is because digital marketing is a great driver of growth for businesses that are either selling online through an e-commerce store, or if you have a brick and mortar store, perhaps you have a website or you're trying to attract new customers through an online presence. So pretty much everybody here today falls into one of these 2 categories. And that's why digital marketing is really important to understand and really take advantage of. So the first reason is that digital marketing has really broad geographical reach. So if you're selling a product and you want to ship it nationwide or even internationally, you can reach any kind of a market, a geographic market with digital marketing. And when you post an ad online, people can see it no matter where they are, provided that you haven't limited your ads reach to a certain area. And you can also limit your ads reach if you just want to advertise in a city, a zip code, a state, or a country. You can have your ad only shown there. And so this makes it really easy to grow your business's market reach in those geographic locations that are most important to your business's growth. Second is that digital marketing is very cost effective compared to other marketing methods. You're able to really customize your daily spend and your monthly spend on marketing ads. And this is more flexible compared to taking out ads in a newspaper or television or many other traditional marketing methods. So depending on your budget, you can scale way down or scale way up, and it's very flexible and adaptive like that to your business's needs and your growth. Third is that digital marketing has tools to help give you good data and quantifiable results of your return on investment for your marketing dollars. So any of the major ad platforms that we're going to talk about today give you the ability to track your data, which usually includes the number of conversions that you get, which can mean either buying your product, or perhaps it's opening your email, visit your homepage of your website, or making a purchase and a sale. You can track any number of metrics, and these are the 4 that are most commonly tracked. And digital marketing makes it really easy for you to see that data and to analyze it and make actionable decisions based on what you can see. Number 4 is that digital marketing is very easy to personalize for your customer. So, one disadvantage of a traditional ad in, say, a newspaper would be you're kind of writing it to a general audience, and you're not able to tailor it to each individual who sees it. But with digital marketing tools such as Facebook and Google, they know a lot about individual people, their likes, their dislikes, their preferences, where they live, what jobs they have, all these things. So you're able to specify what types of people you want to see your ads. And all this information is provided to you right at your fingertips. And it's a major advantage of using digital marketing over other marketing methods, because it helps you make really smart decisions. And 5th is that digital marketing offers a path to easier conversions. So whenever we talk about conversions with an online business, that is the number of people who look at your website or look at your ad, and then those who take an action, which is usually to buy your product. So a customer can see an ad for a product, and within a few clicks and probably a minute or less have actually purchased the product. So it's a very quick conversion process. It doesn't require a lengthy phone call or necessarily a visit to a physical store. They can click on a link and move right along your sales funnel. So this is an advantage because obviously time is precious, and a lot of people don't want to spend time in a long sales cycle. And so if you have a marketing, let's say you have, again, a newspaper ad or even a billboard up, the length of time it takes somebody from when they see that to when they can make the purchase is going to be longer than when they see your online ad. So these are the top 5 reasons why you should be considering digital marketing today for your business. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the different tactics you can use to increase your effectiveness of your digital marketing strategy. The first thing we're going to talk about is your social media and email marketing. And these are great ways to increase your brand awareness and also personalizing your outbound marketing message. Second, we're going to talk about your paid ads and your SEO. And SEO, if not everybody knows, stands for search engine optimization. And it's the art of making your website attractive to search engines so it shows up on the search results higher. And optimizing your website design also is an important part of increasing your search results, your rankings. Thirdly, we're going to talk about affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is a not often used tactic in digital marketing, whereby you're able to bring on board a third-party publisher or influencer who's able to utilize their social media following to generate traffic and leads to your product or services. And lastly, we're going to talk about something that I think is a very important part of the conversation when we talk about running any kind of online business nowadays, which is your analytics, or how do you analyze your data that you're collecting? How do you measure your success? How do you improve your performance? We're going to be looking at some of the most common metrics that you're able to view on the ad platforms, their importance to you, and teach you how to utilize them properly. So step number 1, we're going to talk about your social media marketing. It has 3 main advantages over other forms of marketing. The first one is it can increase your brand awareness. Now, social media marketing, it will increase your website traffic, but it can also increase your awareness of your brand because you're able to engage people with discussions online. Now, this is something you'll hear me say several times today, which is engaging your target customer online with a two-way communication is a primary driver of sales for businesses today. And so social media is great for that. You can consider if your Facebook page for your business, you're getting questions or posts on your Facebook page, you're able to reply to them. Similar with Twitter, similar with Instagram. So this is a great way to get the two-way communication going. And because it involves this active audience participation, social media marketing is a very popular way for small and large businesses alike to be getting the attention of their target customers. Secondly, social media gives you useful metrics, and it offers built-in tools and data and reports, which, like I said, are going to be useful in analyzing and helping you understand how your posts are doing, how your paid ads are doing. And without paying attention to this data, most businesses who ignore it will suffer because of that, because they won't be able to learn and adapt from what the data is showing them. So we're going to talk more about the importance of data later on. And third, it helps you build trust and dialogue. And social media is used by almost every brand, I would say 99% of brands out there, to build trust and start dialogues with their audience, rather than to encourage them to spend money right away. Now, if you think about the Facebook pages of companies or brands you might follow, or Twitter or Instagram, if you think about the types of posts, they're not all saying, we have a new product or we have a sale and trying to get you to buy something. Most of their posts are around having interesting facts or information, or encouraging you to stay engaged with them because they want to build trust, build your trust in them. And the strategy goes that if you provide useful and helpful content, the sales will generally follow. And the most popular marketing platforms for social media, the number one is Facebook for sure. It has the largest number of users, over 2 billion. It has the largest share of online ads, and Google's second there. Twitter is also a very popular platform for social media marketing. Now, interesting fact, some of you have probably heard that Elon Musk has changed the name of Twitter about a week ago to X. So just keep in mind, everything I talk about with Twitter, the new logo is not released yet for the company called X, but X will be replacing Twitter. So if you currently use Twitter or advertise on Twitter, you'll now be doing that on x.com. The third platform is Instagram. Instagram is owned by Facebook, and they're very closely tied together. So when you create an ad and an ad campaign on Facebook, it's going to ask you, do you also want this to show up on Instagram? That's the default setting now. So it makes it very easy to use on both platforms. And the next platform is YouTube, which is owned by Google. YouTube is a very popular way to advertise products if you have an ad that's in a video format. The next form of marketing we're going to talk about is email marketing. Now, this is something we're all familiar with, so I'm not going to describe what it is because we've all received these email marketings, emails from businesses for many years, but I am going to talk about some do's and don'ts in your own email marketing campaign that you might not be aware of. So first, some things you should do. You do want to individualize the content of the body and the subject of the emails. This is going to be helpful if you can have the person's first name who you're emailing, because you're able to customize and personalize that message. Emails with personal content like this get up to 80% more conversion rates, meaning somebody's much more likely to read it if it's personalized to them and then click on the link, whether it's to buy your product or engage with you in some other way. If somebody's signing up for an email list, you should state clearly what kind of emails that subscriber is going to get. So a common tactic here is to put a subscribe field on your website. And this can go through MailChimp or some other email platform that then records a list of emails and helps you email the people. But you can say there next to the sign up form, you'll be receiving emails on this, this, and this. And the whole goal here is that you want people to be sure they're signing up for something that they want. Because the worst thing is if people sign up and then they get emails they didn't expect, they might click them as spam. And if that happens too much, you've got a big problem where your emails will not be showing up in people's inboxes anymore, but they'll be going to the spam folder. So the goal is to not have anybody mark your emails as spam, or else that will be the consequence. Also, you should offer a clear unsubscribe option in the emails you send out. If you use a platform like MailChimp or another big one, that's built in, so you don't need to worry that it's going to be there automatically. But if you're sending emails through a small platform or just personally from your business email address, that might not be there. So you need to always include that. And along with what I said on the other slide about you're not always trying to sell a product when you communicate with customers online, you want to integrate transactional and promotional emails in your email campaign. So the majority of your emails you're sending out are probably about information or a news update or something that your target customer is interested in. And only now and then do you sprinkle in trying to sell your products. Now, what the exact breakdown of the informational versus selling emails is up to your industry and up to your business. So it's something you do need to work out. But I would say in general, probably 2/3 or even 3/4 of your emails should be informational and interesting, and then the minority should be promotional. And you want your email user list and your prospects, your sales prospects, to see your email campaign as a valued service and not just a promotional tool. So one tip here is that you can even incorporate a lot of automation into this process. So for example, if you are going to segment your email list, you might have a couple different customer segments you know about. They might be, say, a certain age group. There might be a gender. You break them down between males and females. There might be professional segments. So let's say you sell construction gear. So some of your sales might go to construction workers, others might go to managers, others might go to supervisors or whatever it is. And you can segment. And then when you are sending out an email, you'll write the email slightly differently for the different segments. So you speak really precisely to your customers' problems and their needs and your solution. And that's the way to get the most effective email campaign and to get the highest conversion rate. So some things that you don't want to do in an email campaign is you don't want to have an overhyped subject line. So this can mean using a lot of exclamation points, all capital letters, things like that. So you don't want to use any of those strategies. You don't want to send your email from an address that's a no reply address. And we've all seen this. If you contact a big company nowadays, say Amazon, Microsoft, whoever it happens to be, when they email you, it's usually from a no reply address. And this is because the sheer volume of emails that they would get is too many to read. So they do this strategy. But as a small or medium-sized business, you want to engage with your customers. So you want to send your emails from something like hello@yourdomainname.com or contact or info. Or if it's a very small business, if it's just you, it might just be your first name, Dave@yourbusiness.com. And this is a good way to engage with the customers and so they can reply to that email and ask you questions. You don't want to send emails that offer no value because that'll just get people to unsubscribe. You don't want to offer too many call to actions. So a call to action is in an email, the one thing you desire the reader to do. And if you're sending out emails with tips and tricks or news, the call to action might not be to buy a product. It might be visit our website to learn more, or something that's going to help grow your business, but not necessarily try to sell your product at every opportunity. You don't want to write an email that's too long. The length of emails, as with the length of all text, it seems nowadays, is getting shorter and shorter. So about a year ago, the ideal length of an email for a business purpose would have been about a page or a little less. But nowadays, studies have shown that the emails that are getting opened the most and clicking on that call to action is only about half a page of text or less. And I imagine this trend is going to continue. So next year, you'll see emails being even shorter. And I think it's just because there's more emails being sent. People have less time to read each one. So if you're going to get somebody to read your email all the way through, get that information you're trying to give them and click on your call to action. Remember to keep it really short. Another don't is to not segment your email list. So again, you want to take advantage of segmentation, and you don't want to send emails that might be deemed irrelevant to people. Also, you want to make sure your emails are going to be optimized for reading on a mobile phone. So about 75 to even 80% of emails nowadays are read on mobile devices, which means if you've got an image or a video or some other content that is too big or just not going to show up properly on a mobile phone, it's going to really turn people off to your emails and they might unsubscribe. So a good way to test this is to send yourself a test email first, especially if you're starting with a new platform. Check it out on your mobile phone. Try an Android and an iPhone just to cover all the platforms. Make sure it appears properly. If you're using a big email system like MailChimp, which I bring up time and again because it's probably the biggest email platform out there and a really good choice for small businesses. MailChimp has email templates that are optimized for mobile and for desktop. So if you use one, you can be pretty sure that it's going to be safe and it's going to be able to be read. You don't want to send emails at the wrong time of day or send too many emails. So a question I get asked often by small business owners are what time of day and what quantity of emails. And there's no definitive answer. It does depend a little on your business and your customers. But overall, research has shown that the best time of day is usually kind of in the morning around 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. The time of day people are typically leaving the house or getting into work and spending perhaps a few minutes looking at more personal emails before they start their workday. And also in the evening around 6 to 6:30, which is a time people are getting off of work. Maybe they're getting in their car, they've driven home, they have a few minutes to kind of relax, and then they're going to scan through a few emails. So those are two pretty general good times, but your good time can vary a little bit based on your customers and what kind of patterns they follow. As far as the quantity of emails, you'd be surprised, but posting on social media is recommended at least once a day or more. Sending emails, the recommended frequency is 2 to 3 times every single week. And, some businesses will even have an email every single day, and they find that the most effective way. So obviously writing these emails, sending these emails is very time consuming. So some of the marketing automation tools that are available are those that you can schedule a week or a month worth of emails in advance and have them sent out on a schedule that you set. So that can save you quite a bit of time. And the last thing you shouldn't do is to ignore your analytics, because again, you're going to incorporate all these tips in your campaigns, but you're not really going to know how effective you're being unless you're looking at your data. And so later on, we're going to talk about what that data looks like and how to properly analyze it. The next facet of a successful digital marketing campaign will be paid ads. Now, we've hinted a little bit about the different ad platforms, but I'm going to specifically talk about the benefits of paid ads and how you go about setting them up. Paid ads are also sometimes called pay-per-click or PPC, and this means you only pay when somebody clicks on your ad with Google. And so you pay, say, 30 or 40 cents every time somebody clicks on your ad. If 1 million people see it, but nobody clicks on it, you don't end up paying anything, which is kind of good for you, but also not good because it means your ad's not very interesting. So what you want is you want to write an ad that gets a decent amount of clicks, but that are your target market. So you're not wasting your money on people going to your website or going to your product page and not deciding to buy it. So we're going to talk about some of the strategies of making these ads really good. The largest ad networks, number one, so Google and Facebook often jostle for position here. Currently, I believe Google is largest by revenue for ads, but it could very well be Facebook next week. So those two are very close. Facebook and Instagram are tied together. Google and YouTube are also tied together. Microsoft with their Bing search engine is another large ad platform, but it's certainly a third place here. LinkedIn is a popular place to run ads, especially if you're a B2B business selling to other businesses. Twitter, also rebranded as X, is here, and Pinterest is low down on the list, not as used as it was a few years ago, but for some businesses, it can still be relevant. So when you decide on putting an ad on one or multiple of these ad networks, there's a few factors that are going to determine if your ad is shown to people. And again, you want your ad to be shown to people if they're the right people. And to help determine that, there's an ad algorithm that prioritizes each ad based on these 4 main factors. The first one is your ad quality. And so this means the grammar of your ad, the language that you use. Do you have a lot of capital letters, or are you using grammar appropriately? So you want to be very precise and very proper. That'll give you a higher ad quality. The next one is your keyword relevance. So when you write an ad, you have a very short amount of characters and words to describe your product and especially describe the problem that you're solving, right? And so you're going to match up the keywords with the search terms. And so you need to know what people are searching for, and the relevance and the number of matches of your words there are going to determine if the ad is shown. The third factor is the landing page quality. So the landing page is the link that your ad goes to. So every ad is going to have a link. It can go to your home site, your homepage of your website. It can go to a specific product page. Maybe it goes to an about page of your company. You'll determine that. So the quality of the landing page is an indication of, again, the grammar of that page. Is it written in proper English? Does it have proper use of exclamation points and capital letters, all these things? Does it have any images? Pages with no images are not ranked as highly here. Pages with videos are ranked even more highly. So the search engines are looking at that landing page very carefully. So you want to make sure it's a high quality page. And if you have questions about more of those details, ask me and we can talk more about that. And lastly is the bid amount. So a minute ago, I said on Google, you might pay 30 or 40 cents every time somebody clicks on your ad. That's a general ballpark. It can vary depending on your industry. More competitive industries are more expensive for their ads. For example, a very expensive industry is car sales, surprisingly. So if you see an ad for Ford, Toyota, or your local, used car business, they're paying a lot of money for time every time somebody clicks on the ads. Same with real estate. So higher ticket items that are competitive, those ads are more. So if you're in a business like that, you're going to pay, you can pay between $2 and $4 per click or higher. And so the bid amount is the amount you're willing to pay. It's set by default, but you can also adjust it. So if you say you want your ad to be shown more frequently, you can say you'll pay more when somebody clicks on it. So it's prioritized higher. So those are the 4 factors that go into, does your ad get shown? And hopefully it gets shown again to your ideal target customer. So you're not wasting money getting people clicking on that ad that aren't interested in their product. So all that information was talking about how you pay money to get visitors to your website and to boost your online business. But this is going to talk about how you get free users to your website, which sounds great. And this is the art of search engine optimization, or SEO. SEO provides you with organic website traffic, and organic just means free. You're not paying for this. But it does require you to research and weigh different factors that are going into your website to give you a higher website ranking. There's a lot of different factors. There can be dozens and dozens. The major search engines vary the importance of the factors from time to time. So they would be essentially, Google is the biggest search engine, Facebook is very large for a search engine, and Microsoft Bing. So those 3. But these are the 4 most important, and these are consistent across any search engine to give your website a high SEO ranking. So if you focus on these 4, if you understand them, and as you build or update your business website, you pay attention to them, it will help you increase your ranking of those free search results, which are so important for an online business's success. The first one is the quality of the content. So similar to how the ad will look at the landing page's quality, your entire website will be scanned. Every sentence, every picture, every link. And if you have links that are broken or pictures that are either very large in size or maybe tiny in size or too frequently appear on a website, so there's too many images for the amount of text, these can all be red flags to the search engine, and they can decrease the quality of your content ranking. So what you want to do is make sure you follow just some good, up-to-date, modern website guidelines when doing your page layout and design, a good amount of text to image ratio. Try to have a couple of videos on your website. There's a lot more quality of content tips I can talk about. If anybody's interested, let me know. But that is one of the 4 factors that's easily controllable by you to increase your SEO. The second factor is the level of user engagement. So the search engines also know how long people spend on each page of your website. Do they click on any link, or do they visit one page and leave right away? If a user spends 5 seconds or less on a page and then leaves, that's called a bounce. So imagine they're like a bouncy ball that's hit your website and bounced off without engaging. That's a bad level of user engagement. And we're going to talk more about that bounce metric later on. A good level of user engagement would be they spend 30 seconds or a minute or two. They click on multiple pages of your website. They're reading your content. This is good. And this level of engagement boosts your SEO because the search engines figure that somebody spending more time on a website, it's more relevant to them. The third factor is mobile friendliness. And similar how most emails are opened on a mobile device now, over 50% of websites are visited on mobile phones as well. So Google and Microsoft and Facebook, they're going to check if your website is mobile friendly. They're going to scan the code, the HTML, and they're going to automatically decide, well, okay, it has all the things in place to be mobile friendly, or maybe it doesn't. And if it's not, if it's older, if it's an older website, you'll get a lower score here on mobile friendliness. So if your website was built within the last 2 or 3 years, I think you're probably good. If you built it on a platform like Wix or Squarespace or WordPress, most likely it's going to be mobile optimized and you'll be fine here. If it's older than 3 years, if it's 5 years or older especially, you could definitely have some problems where it's not working properly on mobile devices anymore. So if you're at all in doubt, check it on your own devices, check it on multiple Android and iPhone devices. If you have a website that's not mobile friendly, you can sometimes fix it, and sometimes it's necessary to create a brand new website from much newer code that's going to work on mobile devices. And the fourth factor is the number and the quality of inbound links. So an inbound link is a link that comes to your website from some other website. So let's say you have a small local hot sauce business and a local newspaper did a story on you, and they put it on their website and they link to your business website from the news story. So that's a good example of an inbound link. The more inbound links, the better. Generally speaking, you should aim to get between 10 and 20 inbound links. And of course, this can take a lot of time. To build this up, you can contact people like your suppliers, your partners, maybe your manufacturers, whoever might be a good partner here, to give you a link to your website from theirs. So that helps with the number. And as far as the quality goes, if the website referring to yours has, say, 10 visitors a month, Google's going to know that, and they're going to say, well, this website doesn't have many users, so the quality of that link is not very high. If, however, you're linked to, and say, a national newspaper publication that gets 1 million users a month on their website, Google's going to say, wow, this website, referring website, has so much traffic, and they're linking to this new one, which would be yours. So that'll be a very high quality inbound link. So you want to work on both the quantity and the quality of your links. And over time, this will really help boost your SEO. So I hope by understanding these 4 most important factors, you have some sense of what you might need to be working on next to help you boost your website's SEO. The third factor is affiliate marketing. And in affiliate marketing, you use a strategy where you compensate usually an individual, an affiliate, who is some sort of subject matter expert in your service or your product. A benefit here is that you can access a lot of really motivated and creative people who are already an influencer to help you sell your product. And you can probably think of some endorsers already from your businesses in your industry, people like celebrities, online influencers, or some other trusted voice in your industry. You just want to make sure that they're targeting your same market as closely as possible. And you also want to make sure that they have a large following online, which is quite easily viewable, and you can analyze that very quickly to determine who would be the best affiliates for you. So with any type of marketing strategy, there's some pros and cons. Some of the pros of affiliate marketing are that it gives you this really quick access to a broad market. So if you're a new business starting up, you're building a website, you're creating your social media pages, you're going to basically be starting at zero followers, 0 visitors to your website. And it can take months or years to actually build up that following to where you want it to be. So an affiliate helps you tap into their market and their following, as you get access very quickly, which leads you to more qualified leads. And it can be a surprisingly low cost form of digital marketing. But some of the cons are that it can be subject to fraud. So if you're having some sort of an agreement with affiliate that you've never met in person, that they're making, commitments that they don't follow through with, these are all legal problems that could be encountered using this type of method. It also gives you less creative control over your marketing, because you're essentially say, look, maybe I'll send you a free product. If you do a review, then you can keep it, or I'll pay you X amount of money. But how that affiliate actually proceeds with the review or the posting of your product information is usually out of your control. So you will lose a lot of that creative control and give it to the hands of this other person. And the last con is that it could also be vulnerable to theft. If you provide samples to review, then they might not follow through on that on their end, and you might not get your samples back. So there are these pros and these cons. Overall, it can be a great method to add to your digital marketing strategy. And I think one of the best known examples of an affiliate marketing program is Amazon's, called Amazon Associates. And one of the primary means people are affiliate of Amazon is that they will do reviews of the best-selling, TVs of 2023, or the best-selling shoes. And they're linking in their review to the products for sale on Amazon. Well, they're all affiliates, and they're getting 2 to 3% of the purchase price in a fee. So that's one example. Amazon does this at a very large scale, but any business can have have some sort of affiliate program that works for them at a scale that also is working for their size of business. So there's 3 main types of an affiliate, and I wanted to talk about them briefly so you get a sense of, if you're going to embark upon affiliate marketing, you kind of know where you want to get involved. So the first level is an unattached affiliate, and this is the most casual type of arrangement, where the affiliate has no connection to the product or service that they're promoting. They're not even really an expert in the field or about the product's use. So they really lack a lot of attachment to your potential customer. And so it kind of absolves the affiliate from the duty to recommend or advise. This can be useful in some situations, especially if it's harder to find an affiliate that's really in your niche. But the second type of affiliate is a related affiliate, and they have a relationship with the service that you're offering or the product. Usually they're kind of an expert in this field, and they have a following that respects their advice. And so what they're going to be able to do is generate a lot more traffic to your website and to your sell your products online, because their level of authority is going to make them a more trusted source of information. But at this stage, the affiliate's not going to really be reviewing the product directly or making a claim about how well it works. That's what's called the involved affiliate. They are going to use your product either live in a video or use it themselves and then write about it. They're confident that their positive experience of their product will help you, and they're going to share it with others. So this is obviously going to be most useful to you overall. Their experience is going to be your advertisement, and they're also a trusted source of information. And however, though, because they're providing really a recommendation or endorsement of your product or service, if your product or service fails to meet expectations, their reputation can be compromised. So the trust is an issue that does go both ways. And it's going to be the most effective use of marketing, of affiliate marketing, but also the most expensive for obvious reasons, because they're putting themselves out a lot more to rate and promote your product. If you're unsure about how to get started with affiliate marketing, I recommend you see who on social media is talking about your product or service. You can do this by searching for popular hashtags and seeing who's posting the most about these hashtags and how many followers they have, and maybe just make a short list of 5 or 10. You can reach out to them one by one. I'd say a personal message would be the best, and not something generic, and just explain kind of what your proposition is. And some of them might come back and be interested. And that's the best way to get started finding any of these 3 types of affiliates. So as I mentioned throughout this presentation, the data you collect And therefore, the analytics and your ability to analyze that data is a real determining factor of how successful your marketing strategy will be online in the long run. These are 6 digital marketing metrics that you should pay attention to. There are more outside of these 6, but as long as you understand these 6, you're going to cover a lot of your situations and a lot of your needs. And you can always get more advanced later, of course. So the first metric that you're able to track, usually on your own website for your business, is your source of your traffic. And this will be commonly tracked through Google Analytics or Facebook Pixel, which is their analytics platform. Or if you're using Wix or Squarespace, they're going to have an analytics page. So it'll always be called the same thing, basically, your traffic sources. Traffic sources can be broken down in between direct visitors, organic search, which again means your SEO, and referrals that might come through your affiliate marketing and efforts like that. Traffic source is a good thing to understand. If you're getting, say, a lot of direct visitors, they are probably clicking on your website link that they see in your emails or some other way that they're manually typing in your URL. These are all direct visitors. If your organic search is high, that means your SEO is working fairly well. If it's very low, which is more common, it means your SEO needs some help. And that's a good thing to look into and update. And again, referrals would come from any source that's outside. So your partner links or your affiliate marketing. The second metric are your page views, which really measure the number of times a user loads your web pages, and also what pages of your website get the most views. So it can help you identify problems or patterns on your website. For example, if your homepage has 90% of your views, but your other pages, like your product pages, have very few, it might mean that the links to your product pages are too hard to find. It might mean that the visitors who look at your homepage are uninterested in your products and therefore leave. So it can help you identify and troubleshoot problems. The third metric is your average session duration, which is the time users spend on your website. Again, the longer they spend, the better for your SEO, the better for your conversion rate and your online sales. And also it means that you're providing more useful information and tailored content to your target buyers. One good way to increase your average session duration would be to invest in producing or creating some video content or good images. So both images and videos are the 2 best ways to keep users on your website longer, and it has all the benefits that already described. So if you have a marketing budget and you don't already have a video of your product or service, consider investing in creating one, because that can be a really good return on your investment for your marketing budget. The fourth factor here is the bounce rate, and this is a negative factor. You want this to be as low as possible, because the bounce rate is the number of people who kind of bounce off your site after only viewing one page for just a few seconds. It's going to be a really good indicator of your strategies, your marketing strategies, and of your page content. And say you have a marketing campaign that goes to a specific product. Let's say you're selling pink feather dusters on Google. This is a hot thing. People are loving pink feather dusters. Maybe you're getting a lot of clicks on that ad, but you're noticing your bounce rate's like 95%, which would say there's a big problem. Maybe your pink feather dusters are priced too high. Maybe they're not pink enough. Who knows? But you can look at this data and start determining what parts of your strategy are working or failing, and then you can modify it appropriately. The fifth one is the exit rate, which shows the number of people who leave your website from different pages. Now, if you're selling online, if you have an e-commerce platform, you have a shopping cart, you want your most exits to be from the checkout confirmation page, which people can only get to once they've purchased a product. And so ideally, that's where you're getting a lot of exits. But again, if you're seeing exits from other pages that you find unusual, you might see that those pages have problems. Maybe they have broken links or broken images, or maybe you've got some images that are so large in file size, they're taking a long time to load and people aren't waiting and they're just leaving the page. So it can help you identify issues. And the sixth factor is the conversion rate. This is a very important metric that measures the number of people who convert or take your call to action based on how many people visited your website. So if your conversion rate is to purchase a product, You'll be able to track that from the checkout confirmation page. And you'll be able to see out of 1,000 visitors this month, 50 purchased. So you have a 5% conversion rate. So this is a very important metric to measure your success overall, month over month and year over year. And again, I think that the analytics here is an important part of this whole story and this whole journey that you're on to market effective online. So if you have other questions about any of these types of analytics or other ones you should pay attention to, again, please let me know in the questions and comments. And the last thing I want to talk about today in the presentation is, well, what's the difference between a B2B versus B2C with digital marketing? So B2B is a business to business sale and a B2C is business to consumer. Another form here is B2G, which might be new to some of you, but is business to government. I'm not really going to talk about business to government. It's not really my area of expertise. The Virginia SBDC does have businesses who sell to government specialists who can advise on that much better. But when it comes to B2B or B2C, there's a few ways that these practices can differ. So I wanted just to go over that. In a B2B situation, when you're selling to another business, your business clients there and your customers are going to have, in general, a longer decision-making process. So it's going to take maybe not minutes or hours, but days, weeks, or months to complete a sale. So any of the digital marketing strategies that focus on building relationships are going to work better for these longer clients who have a longer time frame. And this is in contrast to B2C customers who can respond and make these short-term purchase decisions much quicker. And therefore, they also respond better to a short-term offer. For example, a sale ending in 24 hours. These kind of short-term offers are not going to work very well in a B2B situation, but will in a B2C. Secondly, B2B transactions are more based on data, on evidence. And so by writing more informative content, maybe about data or the practical benefits, you're going to be able to have a higher conversion rate in B2B sales. In contrast, B2C is more emotionally based. So focusing your marketing message on how customers feel. A lot of it is, do you feel unhappy about your current dust problem in your house? Well, we have a pink feather duster that's right for you. Like that would be an approach for a B2C customer, but not really a B2B. And lastly, a B2B decisions usually take more people to decide to buy, right? You might have a manager and another person who is going to check before that purchase is made. So the marketing materials that drive these decisions should be shareable and downloadable. So downloadable videos, downloadable PDFs, they're really good here. Whereas B2C customers, they often focus on their connection with the brand. A good example of this is the clothing company Patagonia. And they have a really loyal following because of their environmental practices and their sustainability. And so a lot of their customers are repeat customers because they have a strong connection with the brand. So this is more common with B2C customers, is that connection, and B2B is more about those materials that can be easily passed along. So I just want to wrap this all up. And again, I hope that you have some questions for me after this because we'll have some time for it. I think digital marketing overall is a very effective way to increase your business's sales online. There's 4 primary reasons for this. 1, it helps you to understand your customers' likes and their preferences better. You have access to more data that Facebook and Google and everybody else collects, and you can use this. You can be empowered by this to make smart decisions and target the right people. You can also understand your customers' buying habits by looking at your data and your analytics. It'll also help you decide what on your website is working and not working. You can see this, how your ad campaigns are leading to sales or not, how your free social media posts are leading to sales or not, how your website content is leading people to buy your products or not. So it helps you understand that. And you can also write email campaigns and use segmentation, like I talked about, to better target certain types of your target buyers. Give them the exact messaging and the words that they need to hear to make that buying decision. So for some business owners at this point, they're probably thinking, well, there's a whole lot to do. And there's too much. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. So if you feel like that at all, here's 2 tips that I want to leave you with. The first one is to stay active. Online marketing is always evolving. There's every 6 months or so, there's going to be an update to a presentation that I give on the topic. And so it's important you continue to learn about new changes and trends. You can attend presentations like the one I gave, talk to business owners about how they're marketing, read news websites, and especially thought leaders in your specific industry. Stay active and stay curious about digital marketing and its trends. And secondly, you might not be sure where you want to start. You can really start with any of the 4 main digital marketing strategies and utilize more than one, of course, but start with your gut instinct at this point and grow your digital marketing from just what you feel it sounds right to you at this point. Many forms of digital marketing can be free. They just take your time. And so, of course, time is valuable and time is money as a business owner. But it takes your time to get them started and you can see their results. And I've talked to a lot of business owners who have been surprised how successful their initial efforts have been. But it doesn't always go that way. But you can always learn from your data and adapt your strategy over time. And if you do this and you're consistent, even if you're not getting a winning marketing strategy in the first 3 months, you can be successful in the long run, as long as you continue to pay attention to your customers, what kind of information they're seeking, and writing your content and creating your digital strategy to meet them where they are and answer their questions. So that ends the formal part of the presentation. We'll have about half an hour or so for your questions. So I encourage everybody to pop on and type them into the Q&A box, I believe is where we'd like them. We'll get through as many as we can today. And I appreciate everybody coming, and I hope that you found this useful.
Thanks, Cameron. We have a couple questions. The first one is, I noticed that you didn't list Yelp as an ad network. Your thoughts on Yelp? I've heard a lot of good versus evil comments about Yelp.
So Yelp is an interesting business. It's really meant to focus on local businesses. So if you're living in a city and you have, say, 5 or 10 restaurants or ice cream parlors or something around you, Yelp is a good way to attract local customers to those businesses. It's not really meant for nationwide or statewide marketing. So if you're a service-based business, you serve mostly a local community, you do probably want to have a presence on Yelp. You can create a free account. You put some information about your business there. People can leave you reviews. It's very much like Google Maps. So if you've used Google Maps, and if you have a Google Maps profile for your business, then Yelp will be very similar. It's kind of a competing platform to Google Maps. In fact, I would say that if you're a service-based business, getting on Google Maps and making sure you have some good images there, you have your contact information, your opening hours, and you have some good reviews from customers, that's probably more important than Yelp at this point. Google Maps has more of a market share in the local business, but Yelp can be a good second place to build a profile or an alternative to Google Maps if you don't want to use that for some reason.
Okay, next question. What is an inbound link? Can you describe that a little bit more?
Yeah, so when you have your website, let's say you're a nursery, and so you grow flowers and all that stuff. You have your website. Now, if you have a supplier of maybe some of your bulbs, they have a website. If they link to your website from theirs, that's an inbound link to your website from another one. Now, the number of the inbound links helps your search engine optimization because Google or another search engine will look at your website and they'll know how many other websites are linking to yours. They'll say, okay, there's 100 other websites linking to this nursery. This nursery is probably really important. Therefore, we're going to increase its search rankings and you'll get more free clicks to your website. So essentially, that's what an inbound link is. Again, it can be from a supplier to your business. It can be from a local newspaper. It could be in a social media post. A link there to your business website is an inbound link. So there's many ways to get inbound links. And again, the quality of the link is also important. So that would be how many visitors does the website that's referring to you get every month. The more visitors they get, then the higher the quality of that link is. And all of these factors will help increase your website's SEO. So you can work on getting inbound links over time. I mentioned that between 10 and 20 is a good place to aim for. A lot of business websites have none. And if you're in that category, at least try to get a couple, try to get 2, try to get 5, but always be thinking about as you network, oh, this would be a good business website to link to mine. And that will help you get more inbound links over time.
Okay, can you give some examples of free digital marketing?
Yes. The first thing I started talking about today was social media marketing. That's completely free. You can create a page for your business on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and those are the probably the biggest 3. And you can create posts. You can follow other people or businesses in your field. So maybe they'll follow you back. So you get some early people following your content. You can use hashtags appropriately in your post. So if somebody's searching for a topic, they will search by a hashtag. And if you've used that hashtag, your post can come up so they can find out about your business without knowing anything about the business previously. That's how hashtags can be useful. So that's a good free form of online marketing. And that's one that almost every business should take advantage of. Another form is your emails. So when you send out emails to a mailing list, that's a great way of online marketing. And it's also completely free to send emails. It just takes your time. And also it takes people signing up for your email list, or if you're able to acquire a list of emails of your target buyers, of your target customers, you can start with that list and start by emailing them. So there's various means of acquiring your email list. So I would say the social media marketing and the emails are 2 of the most effective. The third is your SEO. Having a website costs a little bit of money, of course, $20, $50 a year, something like that. But if your website has bad SEO, you're paying the same amount as if it has good SEO. So by spending the time to learn about where your website SEO is not doing well and improving it, can essentially cost you nothing, but it will give you another free marketing channel and avenue to get more users to your website and therefore more sales. So I think those are the 3 that I'd recommend you focusing on first. That's a good question.
Okay, and on that note, what are some SEO tools that can help me with bringing traffic to my website?
Yeah, there's various platforms that'll analyze your website's SEO and give you a rank of some sort. If you just want to Google, free online SEO tool, you'll find many. I don't really have one that I'd recommend over any others. They all do something pretty similar where they take the current list of rules that Google has published about how they look at websites. And keep in mind, Google or Microsoft, they can change the rules at any point in time, and they don't even have to tell anybody. So how they weigh your website SEO is proprietary to them. It's essentially a secret, but they do publish in general terms how they look at websites. So one of these free online tools will take those rules, look at your website automatically, and then give you some sort of a result, either a letter grade or a score out of 100. You'll see when you try it. Then they'll also point out the areas where your website's doing poorly in. So that's the best place to start. I would do a couple different tools, see if they're consistent in saying where your problems lie, and then making a plan to fix them. If you have worked on your website yourself, you might be able to fix things yourself. They could be text, they could be images, they could be broken links or easily fixable things. If they're along other lines, like your website's not mobile optimized, it's not mobile friendly, you might not be able to fix that yourself unless you're a professional website developer. So then you might need to consider, okay, you maybe need to make a new website. So that's the first step, though, is run a couple of those free online SEO tools, see what they tend to say, and then make a plan to address those most pertinent problems first.
Okay, we have quite a few questions here, so we'll keep going. I've had a web developer mention my self-created Wix site will not be great for getting the best SEO results, and that I should have done it through WordPress. Thoughts?
Well, WordPress is a very good platform for building business websites. And I think next week is at the same time as when I'm teaching my bootcamp on WordPress websites. So I do like WordPress a lot. However, Wix also can check a lot of the same boxes with SEO. Wix is much easier to build a website on than WordPress. So that's the advantage for Wix. But WordPress has more customization and more flexibility when it comes to optimizing your SEO to the fullest extent. So not everybody has the time or aptitude to actually do that in WordPress. It is available in WordPress more so than in Wix. So in your case, you had some recommendation that Wix wasn't working well. It would be interesting to hear what the specific reasons were and then see, well, can you actually address those in Wix, or do you really need to move to a platform like WordPress? Because you don't want to move to WordPress if you don't have to from Wix. It will take time and probably money to rebuild everything there. So just want to be sure that you know exactly the reasons for that comment before you make any decision based on it.
Okay, let's see. On that note, and I'm sure you'll talk more next week about this, but does WordPress give data and analytics like GoDaddy? GoDaddy states how many visited site and other analytics does WordPress do this?
Yes, WordPress is a platform that has a lot of plugins that will give you this great data. So one of the best ways to collect the analytics is Google Analytics. It's the platform I really like using, and that can be integrated into WordPress, as can many other analytical tracking tools. So you can basically take your pick. GoDaddy has their version, and I'm sure it's sufficient for the basics, but there's some that can give you more advanced information. You might be able to run better reports to really help you understand your specific website better. So again, if you're going for a WordPress website, I'd recommend that you use Google Analytics, which is completely free, and that'll help you track all the important information on your website visitors.
So this next question, let me know if you need more info. What about Thumbtack or HomeAdvisor?
Right. So these are two other platforms where, I mean, I'm not super familiar with either one exactly, but I do know that there are platforms that you can probably do online marketing on. I haven't researched them or used them as recently as Yelp and some of those other platforms that I've mentioned. So if your question is how good are they for digital marketing, I don't really have a specific answer right now, but certainly something that could be researched and presented on in the future.
And here's a question that is out to the SBDC. I don't know the answer and I can look into it, but Cameron, you might. I'm wondering if SBDC is going to offer free website development or hands-on WordPress building classes.
That's a great question.
Or maybe you could do that.
Yeah, we used to. We had a grant that did that for a couple of years, but that's expired. And currently, I'm not aware of the Virginia SBDC having a program to offer website building or free help with you building your own WordPress website. Something that I'm able to do on my own as a freelancer is help with those types of requests, but not through the SBDC. So if you're interested in contacting me in that regard, feel free to email help@virginiasbdc.org, and I'll get that information. So we'll be able to continue that conversation.
Absolutely. Okay. Do these tips work digitally when marketing internationally? We are just starting in Europe and Asia.
That's a great question. So for the most part, they work internationally. SEO is very consistent internationally. So obviously Google and Facebook are used around the world, and they're very prominent there. So if your website SEO is good in the US, it's also going to work well in Europe and Asia and anywhere. If you have a good ad on Google or Facebook, meaning you have a high conversion rate, it's also going to translate very well to those markets. The only things you'll need to pay attention of is, if you have a website, the European Union has very strict privacy laws. GDPR is what they're called, and they're relatively new as well. So your website might not be compliant with those. So you probably want to check and make sure your website is compliant with European Union privacy if you're going into them. But otherwise, no, I think a marketing strategy that you build to focus on Virginia, US, or US customers will also translate very nicely to an international focus.
websites or books to learn more about digital marketing, specifically starting from beginner to tools for analytics?
Mhm. I think it's good to start with a couple of questions. So you mentioned analytics. This is a good thing to understand and a good thing to utilize. Books are pretty outdated as far as actually in print books, because like I said, the landscape changes every 6 to 12 months. So you're going to find much more updated information on the internet. I really like YouTube. You can find, how to use Google Analytics for beginners videos on YouTube. There's very high quality, professionally made ones. They can be between 10 and 60 minutes, depending on the length of time you have and the amount of detail you want to get into. I don't really have a recommended video in that category. I just recommend you would search YouTube for what you're interested in learning, and decide what video you want to watch based on the number of views it's had. Obviously, the more the better, and the length, the duration of the video. So make sure you have enough time, to actually get through it. Keep in mind, a good way to watch these videos is to pause it and to go to your computer, go to the website and actually do the things and then resume the video. So it can take you a lot longer because it's kind of training you and you're going along with it. But I think that's the best way to learn some more basic and intermediate skills in digital marketing.
Okay, can you talk about strategies for a service company with radius, no business address, so that they can show up higher on Google Maps?
So Google Maps only lets you display your business if you have a physical address, a physical location. So I think you mentioned that you didn't have a physical address. That'll be a problem for getting on Google Maps, and I believe Yelp as well. They do verify that you have a physical address. They're going to do this by sending you a card in the mail to the address you say is yours with a code on it. You have to enter that on the website. So it's pretty rigorous. If you can't get that code, then you can't get on Google Maps. You can still get on Google for Business, which is a way to get reviews, but you won't be able to be on Google Maps. So I'd recommend you look at business.google.com and see if there are any options for getting some of the benefits of that platform without being on Google Maps. I'm not entirely sure how they have it set up now. I know in the past you could like list your business name and phone number and website without having a physical address, but I'm not sure if they still do that. So check out business.google.com and see if you can get signed up without having a physical address.
Do you usually have to offer an incentive to partners in order for them to provide an inbound link?
That's a great question. It all comes down to negotiation. Like I mentioned, some inbound links might come from a news article, in which case, newspapers often like to talk about local entrepreneurs, local businesses doing well. It's a win for them because that's their job and that's how they're getting views by writing stories. It's a win for you because you've been talked about and you get an inbound link. So that costs you nothing. So, if it's available, reach out to some local publications. The smaller, the better, because they're more likely to have the bandwidth to publish something about your business. If it's another type of for-profit business, then yeah, sometimes. They might want a flat fee, like one time. They might want a monthly fee, and that's okay, as long as you have the budget for it. But I would definitely prioritize those that are going to be at no cost to you. I mean, the cost will be your time in talking and negotiating and making sure it's set up properly. That's going to always be a cost to you in getting inbound links. Most businesses do a pretty good job getting enough without having to pay for them. But, sometimes they do. They might say, look, this is a very highly visited, highly reputable website. We'd love for them to have an inbound link to us. They want a little bit of money, so we're going to pay. So it just all comes down to your situation.
Okay, can you recommend an email service that works well with Square? I'm currently using their platform, but it's kind of pricey for only a little over 1,000 subscribers, and its offerings are limited. Their example is, I usually design in Canva because their templates aren't very attractive. So can you recommend an email service that works well with Square?
Yeah, I think you're talking about an email service to help you send out emails to a mailing list. You said you have about 1,000 subscribers. The platform I use it and I recommend it mostly as MailChimp. MailChimp has a free tier up to, I believe, 5,000 subscribers. So you can use their templates, you can send out the emails, get your reports and see who opened the emails and get all that data for free up to about 5,000. And if you go above 5,000 people in your mailing list, you have to start paying. But I think it's overall, I think it's has the best features and it has the best pricing that I've seen. So I'd recommend you at least check that out, see if you like it. That's MailChimp.com.
Okay, so here is, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Here's someone, they own a business that provides service of organizing bicycle vacations. Basically, they're getting a high volume of traffic to their website, but they would like to have someone evaluate it to see if improvements can be made. They get daily emails from strangers, but they'd like to utilize someone local. So Cameron, if you can elaborate, would this be an SBDC advisor or would it need to be someone specializing in?
Yeah, well, it sounds like they're looking for analysis of their website and recommendations on how to make the website better overall, probably for SEO, probably for user experience. This was a service I was able to provide through the SBDC up until the beginning of the year, the website analysis and recommendations. So as I mentioned earlier, I can personally do this, but not through the SBDC. So if you'd like to email help and put your request there, I'll see that, and then we can communicate on that directly.
Can you recommend the SEO evaluation tools again? I didn't catch the names.
Oh, yeah. I didn't give any specific ones because I don't use them frequently enough to actually know of a one that I prefer. But I would just Google free online SEO tool. And there's many dozens, and they all do a very similar thing. Because as I mentioned, Google will publish their rough guidelines of what they look for. And so these websites, they just take the guidelines, they analyze your website code very carefully and precisely, but very quickly, and then they give you a score. And so I would look at probably 3 different scores and make sure that they're all kind of agreeing on, okay, this is the factor that's hurting your score the most, these factors. And then once you have an idea of what those factors are, could be you have too much text and not enough images, could be you have too many images, not enough text. There's a whole host of things, and they'll tell you what they recommend you do. With those in hand, either you can make changes yourself if you're comfortable and you know how to do it, or you can hire a website developer or talk to someone like me who can help make more advanced changes to your website. And then once it's done, you can go back to the same tools, rerun and get it and see how your score is improved. So it's good to measure the changes and see how they've impacted your SEO score. But I'll just say, and this is an interesting point, that Google and the search engines, they don't allow you to see your own score that they give you. And their score is the one that matters because they own the algorithm, they own their business, but their score is kind of private. And so these other websites are approximating it. But again, you never know the score the search engines have for your site because that's their secret sauce, essentially. So you do the best you can with the tools that are available. But I think for the most part, they work very well.
So Cameron, I know WordPress is what you prefer, but someone is asking if there will be any webinars on maneuvering Wix.
That's a great question. Unfortunately, not in this year, in 2023. If we are able to budget for more webinars in 2024, I definitely think this is a topic I'll be creating a presentation on, because in the last year or year and a half, I've seen more businesses happily using a platform like Wix because it's easier to get into, and it does have a lot more limitations, but the ease of use, it can be a big bonus. So I think it's going to be valuable to teach on this topic and dive into building a Wix website. Personally, I do know how to do it, but we don't have that presentation created yet or scheduled yet this year. But do stay tuned. If you take a look at virginiaSBDC.org's website, towards the end of the year, we should have next year's scheduled in January, February, March, and hopefully we'll be able to build a Wix presentation. I would like to.
Okay, so I'll let you decide whether this can be answered here. It's completely off topic, but do you think SBDC will offer how to do funnels? Is this something you know how to do?
So yeah, it is something that I do, and I do for small businesses. A marketing funnel is kind of the stages that people go through until they generate revenue for your business. So an example might be they receive an email from you, they go to your website, they click on your Facebook page, they kind of follow certain steps and patterns. They look at your product page, and maybe the next email you send out has now information about the product they looked at automatically generated because you're tracking that. And then they're like, oh, I was just looking at that product. Oh, and it's on sale, so they'll buy it. So that kind of thought process is how you build a funnel. It's more of an advanced marketing tactic for sure. The marketing tactics I talked about here are kind of basic to intermediate. Marketing funnels can be very powerful and very useful and take a bit more skill and time to build. So we don't currently have a presentation or an information about that at the SBDC. Again, I think next year that would be a really useful topic to talk about, and I'm glad you brought it up. If you are interested in getting my advice one-on-one outside of the SBDC through my own business, then feel free to email the help email address here. And as mentioned, if you just say, hey, I'd like to talk to Cameron about this topic, then I will get the emails and we'll be able to then talk about it directly.
Here's someone asking, could I take a course in digital marketing like Course Careers?
There's a lot of courses. I'm not sure of Course Careers specifically. There's Udemy, which is the letter U and then DEMY. That's a very popular online course platform. They have a lot of digital marketing courses. There's also Coursera, which is a competitor to that. If you search for digital marketing for beginners or whatever your topic, you'll find lots and lots of courses, quite inexpensive video content modules. So you can look at those two sites for digital marketing courses if you're interested in paying for one and buying one. But yes, both of them have many. You'll probably be overwhelmed by the volume of courses. So you probably want a more specific question in mind, like how do you create a good Facebook ad, or how do you improve your website's SEO score? Those are more specific, and you'll probably get more pertinent course information than a very broad digital marketing course, which will be kind of like what I did today, probably with more detail in certain areas because there'll be more content there. But yeah, I'd take a look at those sites and just see what looks interesting to you.
And do we have any other questions for Cameron? We have, 10 minutes left? If you had $1,000, how would you spend it?
Is the question, does it mean on online marketing or just in general?
In general.
Oh boy, that's a good question. Nothing really comes to mind, but I think investing is always smart. So pick a stock, pick a mutual fund, invest that $1,000 and wait 50 years and see what it's worth. But yeah, I think
it was in terms of digital marketing.
Yeah. So if you're trying to market for your business and you have like $1,000 budget, usually you want to plan a monthly budget. So you might say, if you only have $1,000, you might say, okay, I'm going to make a $300 a month budget for 3 months. I think that's a better plan. You can have, I think the minimum monthly budget is around $300 if you're going to run ads. You can allocate half of that to Facebook and half of that to Google ads. And then by the end of the first month, you can see which one is doing better, has a better conversion rate. And then you can allocate more money to that. But I think that's a fine strategy, say $300 per month for 3 months. And at the end of the 3 months, you'll definitely have some data to show how well those ads did. You can, of course, pause and reword or create a new ad at any point, so you're not locked in. So I would start there, and that's something I also talk about people more when I talk one-on-one about their businesses and their budget is where you would go. But yeah, I think 150 to Facebook, 150 to Google each month for 3 months would be the best way to spend that money. You could also consider an affiliate, maybe. You could also consider investing some of that into a video. If you don't have any kind of video, but you really think you should have an ad on YouTube, for example, you probably need to invest $300 to $400 in a video. So those are other ways you could spend a marketing budget like that.
Great. Any other questions? Is it best to have Facebook or Instagram determine my audience for ads?
Good question. So Facebook bought Instagram a few years ago. So it's essentially one platform in a lot of ways. Obviously, two different layouts of the website you go to as a user. But as far as the marketing platform goes, it's very similar. So if you put an ad on Instagram, it's gonna look at what it knows about people from their Facebook pages and also use that in targeting and vice versa. So Facebook will use information on Instagram's website about people if you're trying to target to a certain demographic. So generally speaking, you can create an ad on Facebook and then have it also displayed on Instagram. That's quick to do. It's just offered there as a setting. I think it's just enabled by default now. So that's what I'd recommend you do if you want to advertise on both Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Few more minutes if anyone else has a question. Okay. I think we might be done.
Okay,
Cameron, do
well,
you have
I
any
appreciate
last-
everybody's.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say I appreciate everybody who stuck with us, over 50 people, hour and a half. Good job. I think it's useful information. Hopefully you found it really valuable. Next week, if you want to learn more about WordPress, website building and management, then I'm also presenting that same time next Thursday. And we also have other events coming up, which you can see on our events calendar on the website. So thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cameron. Thanks to everyone for attending today, especially those who tried to tune in last week. Thanks for coming back. You will all receive an email with a link to the recording and to the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars, like the WordPress one next week, or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. This webinar and other SBDC resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. We hope to see you at our next session. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.